Today marks the beginning of a new free trade agreement with the UK. It's been in plan for 2 years, but it comes 50 years after Britain left Australia behind as our biggest customer of farm exports to join the then common market. Post-Brexit, a deal with Australia is important, for it will open access for our farmers and give Australia cheaper access into those UK markets. But it'll include even pharmaceuticals, cars and even Scotch whisky coming back our way as well. But though it's caused qualms with British farmers, it also provides opportunities for progressive Australian food producers. Lachlan is the co-chief executive of the Argyle Foods Group, one of Australia's biggest vertically integrated meat processing businesses, and joins me now. Lachlan, many thanks for your time. Does this simply mean that you start producing and sending cattle straight to the UK, or meat?
Ross, thanks for having me. It's great to join. Not necessarily. There's still quite a few, criteria and raising requirements from a livestock perspective to be able to supply the UK EU market. So from that perspective, it's not a straightforward, lift in production and away we go. And there's a fair few challenges in the Australian processing industry at the moment. Primarily the labour shortage, but certainly it's very positive, right? Any trade agreement that helps Australian production, particularly from my perspective, and agriculture and red meat production, it's positive. It's as of today, 99% of Australian exports to the UK are now tariff-free. So it's a huge change, it's a huge improvement, and it's a great opportunity. The UK consumers, very similar to Australia from a red meat perspective, they care about animal welfare, they care about environmental sustainability, and they care about safe food. So for a company like us, it's a real big win. All of our products are predominantly grass-fed, hormone-free, antibiotic-free, and a natural product. So great opportunity, a similar consumer and a massive market. And for your point about the UK producers, farmers, I guess, that are maybe seeing some sort of negativity, I really think we're going to, as Australia, take more product off the EU imports coming into the UK market, because UK consumers are very patriotic, and it's a big, there's a big market where they buy UK, British only. So I think we're going to be taking other markets off EU imports, to be fair.
Okay, so then to explain to me, because the amount of it that's tariff-free that's coming off, that has some quotas on it, I presume, and that's the quota that continues to rise year after year. That's where you get the opportunity to really ramp the production up that you're sending to the UK.
Yeah, correct. So, as of now, the first year, there's 35,000 tonnes of Australian beef is tariff-free. So once that's filled, that quota, then the tariff comes back into play, and then it steps up every year for the next 10 years. So it's done in that way so it doesn't potentially negatively impact the British producers, and it allows the Australian producers to step up. But it's a good start. It's a lot faster from FTAs that have been done in the past, from the Japanese one, for example. So I think it's a good quick step up. And it'll take some time for Australian producers to be able to supply that. Notwithstanding, we've had 3 great years and we've built up our livestock numbers. The challenge is actually getting the right compliant quality and grade of cattle. But the biggest challenge is being processors in Australia being able to effectively process them due to the labour challenges and satisfy the demand.
But as you know, the government right now is going to Europe to try and do a free trade agreement there. There's also changes to try and improve the access to markets in Korea that's also coming as well. So these things really give great access to farmers. But what you're saying is that there are limits on how much you can produce, not only stock on the ground, of which you've got plenty, but it's really the processing that's the problem.
Yeah, short term, the biggest challenge is processing space. And we've had great 3 years. We've got a real big herd rebuild, so we've got a lot of great quality livestock. Short-term biggest challenge is effectively, processing them efficiently and getting those export markets supplied. And it is great. It's great that what's happening with Korea. I'm off to the US in 4 weeks to a food show in New York where we're exhibiting. The US is also a massive market because their herd is obviously now going into its own rebuild phase. So the demand is really big in the US. So it's a really good time to be in the industry. I just think, collectively across the whole industry, between producers and processors and exporters and distributors, the biggest challenge in the short term is getting the labour shortage addressed through, getting these plants up to speed and running double shifts and really trying to process our livestock so we can get them into those markets.
I'll tell you what, Lachlan, good to chat to you on the program today. All the best, and certainly for getting that Australian beef into those UK markets as well.
Thanks, Ross. Great to talk. Cheers, mate.